Hey guys, I want to talk to you about something that is very dear to my heart, which is something I've discovered in the last couple of years, and that's alignment in your life. This is a huge deal. If you understand it, it'll make a lot of your life problems go away and just make things a lot smoother for you in your life, whether it's business or making money, putting money away, and just in general give you more peace of mind, which allows you to be more effective. The alignment thing started out when we were having a lot of shop owners visit from all parts of the country, and I wanted to make things like very clear on what we're doing, because people have questions, and there's always like an underlying assumption or underlying principle, or you call it a foundational values that govern, or that really like kind of the whole rest of our company sits on. And people often want to know just the base level things. They just want to know, how do I do that one thing so I can get to the next level? And it always bothered me when people are like, what, it's just a pay plan, let me just do the pay plan and everything's going to be fine, or let me just do the marketing, or let me just do the one thing that's going to just change everything. And I said, it's not quite like that, although it'll help. Anyway, long and short of it is, the alignment thing came out to be getting the marketing of the business, which is what we portray to the customer. You can call it the brand or the image. Getting that in alignment with the systems that we run in the store. So those two things must work together. They can't be like you have marketing one way and then your systems are completely different. An example of that would be like if you're running cheap oil changes and then you do an hour-long oil change checkup, that's probably not going to work, because you're going to get 100 cheap oil changes in a day. Not quite, but across the company maybe, and you get 222 oil changes in one day, and it takes you an hour to do each one. You're going to be SOL, right? So you can't do that. The system must change to accommodate the marketing and the branding of the company. So that's an alignment. The next thing is pay plans. So if you're going to run those kind of systems, then you have to run pay plans that also incentivize people to continue running those systems. That's also called alignment. If you're going to do that, and you guys have heard me say certain things about certain pay plans, but you can't run certain industry pay plans because it just makes things very difficult for your people, and it's going to cause a lot of friction. So you have to pay people in a way where it is encouraged for them to do the speed of service and work together as a team. So now we got the alignment between marketing and systems and pay plans. Then the next would be like the culture, the leadership style, and that has to feed into the rest of the systems and the pay plans. And if you have this alignment between branding, marketing, systems, pay plans, and culture and leadership, what happens is you get a very smooth machine where people are happy, customers get in and out very quickly, and their team is incentivized to serve the customer based on the marketing, and the end product of that is usually you make money. You're able to produce more profit, and you're able to produce more revenue. And I was like, holy crap, like having alignment was the issue. It's not. And this doesn't have to be anything. This has to be just as long as whatever you're doing, you're not contradicting yourself. You don't have to run cheap oil changes and speed of service and team pay plans. Like that's one package. The other package is you are not cheap and you have a specialty shop and you do pay flat rate and you do incentivize on individual performance and whatever, like, and you give the best tools and that you only have ATEX. That's another package, but it's still in alignment and respect. It works. The problem is people take half of this package and half of this package, and half of those things will contradict each other, and then they wonder why there's so much friction. You can't do that, right? It's gonna cause a lot of stress for you, which is what contradiction is. In life, when you have contradictions, that's manifested as stress. So I was like, holy cow, like that, this really just comes down to being aware of what I allow and what I don't allow. And what you don't allow is actually more important in life, usually, than what you do allow. So to kind of take that a bit further, I started thinking about my life, and I was like, man, I'm trying to do this thing where I'm trying to build this company with all these young guys, and I'm trying to, be a leader to them so that they have a good judgment and, they have a good a frame of reference. So be like, oh yeah, like, whenever I'm lost, I can go look at, these guys that are leading. I'm trying to live this life, which is kind of different than the average, 30-something year old guy. So how do I bring more alignment into my life? Sorry guys, there's a lot of manholes in Michigan. Anyway, so you have this alignment that you create, Zane. That's what kind of, I had this conversation with myself where I have to be a certain way in my life, in my personal life, in order to accommodate my business life. I have to be a certain way in my relationship with my spouse in order to be in alignment with my personal life. I have to be a certain way in my mind in order to be in alignment with my spousal relationship. So all of these things kind of have to line up where I can't be different people in different settings, because that will cause contradiction and makes things difficult, causes stress. I can't go out and party because that is something I would have to hide from the people that work with me, because how can I be this guy in public and then be a different guy in private? I have to not allow certain energy, and by energy I mean certain people, certain words, certain ideas, certain hobbies, certain media, because what it does is any of that actually takes away, it takes me off the path instead of making it on the path. And then there's other ideas which further bring me to the path. Prayer, right? If I'm going to do this, I need to be prayerful, because prayerful gives me more faith. Faith gives me more ideas and more ability to plan and to believe in the fact that what we're doing is good. And it also encourages me that, okay, if there is a spiritual deity out there, he certainly sees that I'm trying to do good for the people around me, which further strengthens my faith in what we're doing. Resolve, right? That's the word. So what I'm trying to really say with all of this, guys, is if you haven't sat down and actually audited your values, your thoughts, your actions, your habits, your results and your plans, and if you haven't gone through them and seen, okay, this is not in alignment, then you're going to find very high value in doing something like that. And I've said this on previous videos, this was a huge epiphany for me about 15 years ago when I sat down and said, holy cow, what I think about leads to what I say, leads to what I do, leads to my habits, leads to my results, leads to my destiny. And if I change what I think about, I can change my destiny. And in order to change what I think about, I must protect my environment, my mental environment. I must protect what I watch. I must protect what I see and listen to. I must protect who I'm around. I must watch the door of my brain, my mind, like I'm watching Fort Knox, because there's gold in there. And the gold is a gold that you don't see yet, because that is your future. And it has worked out tremendously, at least for me and the people that have also done this alongside me. And what I encourage you to do is go home or go to a coffee shop and put on some headphones with some relaxing music, grab yourself a coffee and a pen and paper, and ask yourself, what do I believe? And what am I doing? And what do I want? And who do I want to be? And just let the thoughts flow. Don't think about it too much. Just let it go. And just when you write down these things, see if they're in alignment. So what do I believe? Is it in alignment with where I want to go and who I want to be and what do I want to have? And if it's not, then it's a good time to start thinking about how you can change that. And I promise you, this exercise will do wonders for you if you can just do it without thinking about it too much. Just being honest and letting it flow, and to put yourself in a relaxed state, again, in a nice coffee shop with some nice music, and you write down with a pen and paper, what am I thinking? What are my thoughts? What is the most predominant thought in my mind daily, right? What do I normally think about? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? And what am I actually doing? And just kind of audit that, right? And what you realize is you're like, holy cow, I see that contradiction. Like, all this rest stuff is good, but there's this little seam here. Like, there's a break in the chain, or there's a weak link in the chain. And you can actually take that link out and put a new link in, and you will find a lot more robustness in your chain, which will allow you to be more robust in your life. It'll give you more strength in dealing with your stresses and the normal things in life that normally go bad. You will be able to handle a lot better because there's less contradiction inside of you. So guys, I always say this, that business is life and life is business, and there's no such thing as work-life balance because it's all one. I'm telling you guys that whatever you do in your personal life, if you make it better, it will be reflected to you in everything you do in your life outside of your home. And the more you do that, it will be better for you in the long run. And one of our teachers said that the world will always reflect to you who you are on the inside. And the world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are. And if you can become a better version of yourself, and in my opinion, it's the more truer version of yourself, you will find very quickly that you will get the things that you've been seeking all along, and it will come to you effortlessly instead of you grinding and killing yourself. The issue isn't that you don't work hard. The issue is that you are not making the transformation into the next level of person you're meant to be because you're not willing to give up the things that are holding you back. Once you do that, the things you want will come to you almost instantaneously. They will happen so crazily that you will be mind blown by that. And it's not going to require more effort. In fact, it will require less effort to get to the next level once you've made the transformation on the inside. Once you've given up the things you need to give up and believe the things that you need to believe, everything else follows. Remember, the world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are or what you are. So change the person that you are on the inside, what you believe and feel on the inside. Everything else will follow much effortlessly. I hope it helps, guys. Again, this is some crazy stuff that I've learned, and I hope it helps you as well. God bless you. See you soon.